Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. This video here is a gather and chat video. It's a series where I gather ephemera, I go through my pile of magazines and cut things out for all my mixed media work, and I do a little chat with you along the way. As you can see, I've got my nice big pile of stuff there. I've got a couple catalogs on top, and then of course the Hollywood Reporters, which if you've watched previous episodes with me, that is something that I get, and it's pretty great. One of my default places for ephemera for sure. And definitely don't discount catalogs, guys. Like, catalogs can be a really great secret stash of, place to get ephemera, both for textures of things and patterns and rugs and walls and windows. You just never know what you might find. Another thing in this stash here, and I'll get to our topic of this episode in a minute here, but something else you're going to see me go through was actually a magazine, or a catalog rather, that I got from the post office. USPS has its own fancy catalog, and I had no idea. I also have no idea why I even got one of these, other than maybe just the postage I buy through my Etsy shop, or the postage that I buy. It has to be just from postage that I get for Etsy. I have no other reason why I'd be getting a USPS catalog. But it ended up being a really great place to find some imagery. Now, it was very specific type of imagery, and that's where I thought that I would kind of, it segues, it leads us really nicely into what the topic of today's episode is going to be, and that's really going to be about types or functions of ephemera. And I want to talk about this because it's something that I'm starting to experience, I'd say in the last 6 to 8 months or so. I've had a real shift in the types of ephemera that I'm gathering. Usually for the past years, however long that I've been creating mixed media work, more so in my mixed media art journaling that I've been doing, or that I do, I'm always looking for ephemera that is really not object specific. It's not image specific. It's stuff that I can really easily alter, stuff that's just colors or patterns that I can kind of layer, and you really kind of lose what the original ephemera piece is. But now, since I'm dabbling in all these different sort of ways that I'm making art, I find myself pulling other types of ephemera for different things. And that's where I kind of want to talk about this, the function of your ephemera. And I've definitely now started to catalog my paper scraps and my images a little bit differently based on what it is that I'm going to be using it for. So as I mentioned, my art journaling in the past, I always try to go for nondescript kind of things that I can alter. And the reason why I do that is because I want it to be transformative. I want it to be something that I can turn into my own, or that you lose what the original image is, because that is always the delicate dance with mixed media work, right? If it's work that you're going to get reproduced, or that you're going to sell, you do have to think about the images that you're using. Are you really, really severely altering it enough? Are you chopping it up? Are you painting on top of it? Is it just simply a base layer for something? That's always something I'm constantly being mindful of. So rather than tempting myself with imagery that might be, I'll just say the word taboo for right now, or that you shouldn't be using in work that you're going to reproduce, I just don't even let that stuff creep into my ephemera pile. Well, lately, and I say lately, but it's really been at least the last year or so, I've been doing other types of collaging that is really for my own personal use. And it's been a little bit of, it's my planner journal basically, but it's mostly my own personal journals that I'm writing in, kind of junk journal-y style. My planner journal is like a junk journal in a sense that I chuck a lot of stuff in there. But I do like to use really image-specific things. And this is where this USPS catalog was kind of like a gold mine, because they had all of these little stamps and all of these fun little images that I was able to cut out, and that I will 100% utilize for my planner journal, my junk journaling, the stuff that's my personal use, right? Not the stuff that I need to be worried about transforming it, So, you saw me there, I cut out a whole, oh, hey, reminder guys, drink some water. You'll see I had a cup of water at the start, having a little sip here midway. I've really appreciated lately, there's been some content creators that have been I watch their videos and then they'll pause midway and be like, hey, drink some water. And I actually find myself grabbing my water and drinking it. So this is my reminder to you guys, stay hydrated, drink your water. Anywho, As you saw me cut out in that USPS catalog, I cut out these like Sesame Street stamps or whatever, and it was mainly because I wanted the Count, because I think he's really cute, and stuff with if I'm ever journaling, planner journaling for stuff with Roman, or moments in my life and stuff. Like, it's fun to have those little like images in there, because I don't have to really, again, be worried about the reproduction side of things. It's not something that I'm going to be selling. It's just something that kind of brings me joy. And that's been a really nice thing that I've infused into, my mixed media mind, I'll say, because I wouldn't call my planner journal like my work, really. That's just my place where I have fun, and I doodle, I throw different types of paper in, but it's mainly stuff that makes me happy, right? Or that kind of reflects on that time in my life. And it's just really, I've had such joy just going through magazines and cutting out images and finding things that I like, rather than things that I'm like, ooh, this could be a good underlayer for, whatever larger piece that I'm working on. Now that still exists, as you can see, as I'm cutting out these Hollywood Reporter magazines. I'm still pulling out those big swatches of like weird textures and colors and things that I will then move into my bin system. So the stuff that is going to be really in my mixed media work, the tarot cards, art journals, although I have not been doing much art journaling lately, I will admit, that will go into my ephemera bin of stuff. And I can probably, at some point I'd like to do an organizational video, just kind of reviewing things over, but you guys did get a glimpse into that bin in a vlog at some point. If I remember, I'll try to link that in the description below, where you can see how I kind of revamped that. But that system's been working really well for me in terms of organizing my ephemera and paper stuff for specifically mixed media work. For my planner journal stuff and kind of the fun imagery that makes me happy, or stuff that connects to, the fun kind of little pages and stuff I might be doing in my life, or moments in my life or whatever, I have these little kind of envelopes that I have organized. And it's really just one, and I'm looking at it now, actually. It's mainly one big envelope. I have a second kind of envelope. What are these? No, it's more like a file folder. I don't know what they are. I have one big one that's kind of like my personal, kind of used for my planner journal, stuff that makes me happy, stuff that I'm like, ooh, we went and did this on Saturday. This little image of whatever connects with that perfectly, and I'll put it in there. Same with like scraps of things, like receipts or little things that I might save. I'll put into that folder as a means of using it for spreads in my planner journal. Now, I have yet to come up with the system of filtering that out, in a sense of how am I rotating things in and out, other than when I sit down to planner journal, I do kind of go through and pull out things and just try to keep it fresh. Like if there's a little chunk of something that I stuck in there, it's been sitting in there for a couple months and I haven't used it, I toss it, or it gets put into a box for future mystery bun boxes or what have you. I do have a second file folder that I had dedicated as like my spooky stuff, because I had started a Halloween junk journal, but I have not really dabbled with it a whole lot, and I find myself digging into that spooky envelope just to put into my personal planner. So I think I'm just going to give up on having this Halloween journal, because let's be honest, Halloween is life and every day for me. So I'm just going to mush it in with all of my other stuff. Here is the overview of everything that I gathered in this episode for you here. So real good mix of that actual mixed media stuff and fun stuff. And yeah, that about does it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.